Continuing with the arcane revelation of one Saint John as delivered to Saint John on the Isle of Patmos some time ago. I would think that it was offhand. Let me see if I can. Epic story, revelation in 80 AD, I believe. The revelation as presented. Now, what we're looking at, my dear esteemed viewer, are the 7 churches of Revelation fame, and how they're correlated, these 7 churches in Revelation that are mentioned throughout. Now, keep in mind, if the Bible is the most popular, most widely read book, and at least in Western, I was going to say civilization, but that's being a little kind. In the Western world, and that being said, Bible, very popular. I would think it's accurate to state that within the Bible, that Revelation is perhaps the most widely read, most popular, the book of the Bible that most are familiar with, Revelations. Certainly looking at it from in metal music, in sort of a thematic material within, some of the death metal, black metal, what have you, the events and Revelations, the imagery in Revelations, very well-known, very well capitalized upon, dwelt upon, depicted in various art. Certainly the most, relevant book, if you will, for where we're at right now in this particular Kali Yuga. So, the churches of Revelation, as they correlate to chakras. Now, like I told you, this is except for imagery and reference, thematic reference, this is not anything from a Christian, at least how it's been depicted through Christianity, unless you're just from some really a Unitarian type of church or whatnot. My experience within Christianity has never, ever has it ever been the churches of Revelation been correlated with your chakra system. And that's what we're looking at here. To begin to transcend the literal interpretation of Revelation, the book of Revelation, and begin to have something that's immediately visceral and immediately of actionable intelligence that means something, that you can, instead of being like, oh my God, 7-headed dragons and this, and well, let's go at it from another angle and try to help some folks out, because I think it's of necessity. So so that's something to look at here with these churches, the chakra system, and begin to realize that there are other interpretations to all of this, and looking at the arcane, the deeper sort of esoteric meanings of what the book of Revelation is about. Revelation tells the epic story of the journey of humankind from its entry into the human kingdom to its ascension and enlightenment to the next kingdom of saints and masters. It is highly symbolic, based on the chakras and subtle bodies, and takes in the influence of the zodiac. Written around 80 AD by Master Hilarion, who was also Paul of Tarsus. However, the author is given formally as John. really incidental and of ultimately no consequence who the human author of what this book is, because this transcends the third dimension, human element. So the seven chakra stages of human development refer back to the screen share when I showed the churches and how they correlate to which chakra. So the seven chakra stages of human development play a prominent role, and Revelation is organized by chapters and 3 sequential levels of these 7, plus the final consummation chapter. 3 times 7 equals 21 plus 1. The 3 levels are those of the development process in the personality, soul, and spirit phases of our being. John sees these all at once in the elevated consciousness beyond space-time, but writes about them sequentially, hence apparent repetition. They represent the major stages of human evolution from elementary, primitive, to enlightened master transcendent of human life. A brief summary of the major symbols of Revelation and their role will follow. Personality phase. In the first 3 chapters, the 7 candles are the 7 chakras. The 7 churches are the corresponding ductless glands and nerve plexi. And the 7 stars are the angelic consciousness of each. They are. And refer back to the, well, I guess go back and pause it or something. So we have Church of Ephesus, the base chakra, 4 petals, adrenals, etc., etc. So Smyrna, sacral chakra. Sardis is the throat chakra. Laodicea is the crown chakra associated with the pineal gland. So I think it's important to understand that these symbols and the churches within Revelation have actual relevance to us and our human genetic vehicle with the spiritual components. So the 7 archetypical stages of development, each with specific qualities. John describes these in terms of their influence at the 3 levels of our being as we evolve. So we have the book with 7 seals on its back is the body with its chakras, which only the Christ energy can enliven. This is also symbolized in chapter 5 as the Christ lamb in incarnation, slain with the 7 horns and eyes. In chapter 4, the 4 beasts are the symbols of the astrological fixed cross of love, namely Leo the lion, Taurus calf, Aquarius man, and Scorpio eagle. Being full of eyes, they are omniscient, and having 6 wings means they exist with 6 planes of being below their omniscience. 7th level, they're below their omniscient. 7th level, the planes of being of ascending grades of substance are the space dimension at right angles to the time dimension of the chakra progression. These are divine energies playing through our local universe to influence the evolution of life on Earth. So chapter 6 describes the evolutionary unfoldment of the chakras at the personality level, using astrological symbolism for the first 4 chakras or seals, such as like a planetary seal. These are the legendary 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, being Sagittarius, the white horse, Scorpio, the red horse, Libra, the black horse, and Virgo, the pale horse. They represent the descent into black materiality, death and hell, and the dawning pale of higher value. Horses represent the lower quaternary 4 legs, so the next 2 chakras use instead the imagery of souls and radical transformation brought about by the ajna. Their relationship to the arc of descent and ascent in the human journey is considered as the arc of transformation. So let me share this part right here. So arc of transformation, and this goes back to sacred geometry. So really, just trying to break people from this brainwashing, this trauma that has been created for most people with this being kind of trapped in this certain frequency of consciousness, of, you know, being enslaved to words and sort of the emotions that have been kind of attached to this topic by the black magic preacher man at your, you know, and I think that we're all essentially at heart, everybody means well, but I'm not going to pull any punches with this. If you're, I believe there's a lot of people in the Christian church that fully know what they have been doing and what they're part and parcel of with the gaslighting and the trauma that have been put upon people and the fear-based morality and the control, fear-based control. If you deny that, and right now you will be in that cave in the third dimension come August 26th. You have time to repent, Christians, control freak Christians. All right, you know, and trust me, I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, get at me if you need to, seriously, because you're a control freak and you just repent of your ways. That's all. I'll leave it at that. So we have the Sagittarius repents, the initial innocence of the base chakra, stage of development. And then, oh yeah, well, before I got off on that tangent, sacred geometry. Is all this is. Don't be traumatized by this as it looks like some kind of satanic, you know, pentagram or something. You know, that's just basically you're just traumatized at a certain level of understanding for the most part. I mean, you know, I'm not speaking to anyone particular. I just fully know well the kind of comments that I get on these videos that I post, BitChute at least, are just horrendous. Just, you know, people that think they know something and they think they're going to come at me and, you know, and say I'm a Satanist or something like that. And it's all based on their fear-based Christian programming. So anyway, I'm just anticipating and kind of dealing with that and getting a little off topic, but you know, that's what I live around. That's what I've dealt with my entire life for the most part. So, and Sagittarius represents the initial innocence of the base chakra, stage development, levels 2, 3. So, you know, this is not trying to really necessarily, you know, get all this done in one video, but just making the point that the book of Revelations is highly symbolic. Okay, in the books of Genesis and Revelation, the term heaven is used for the middle of the 7 planes of existence, the Buddhic level. As the soul is at the upper sublevels of the mental level, heaven is seen to be immediately above it, etc., etc., when heaven is departed. So Sagittarius governs human emotion, etc., etc. Each group of 7 chapters represents 7 rays in order, with the 7th being the culminating influence. So there's more correlations. 7 final 3 chapters of each septenant also reflect the divine Trinity. Chapter 7 opens with angels ready to transform the lower nature. As my last video when I was talking about, you have to put that in order. That's part of putting your house in order. And it's not, you know, and I'm not here to say what that is. It's everybody has their own path. You know, I know what I had to put in order, and I executed, and I have moved on. My life has moved on, and it has continued to transcend, to ascend from where I was at roughly a year ago at this point. And August 11th of 2021 is where I formally recognized when the Lionsgate portal hit me and light started going off. And as a consequence, my life began to ascend with angels ready to transform the lower nature, but being told to wait until the Ajna chakra confirms the purity of those souls who have transcended their lower natures and established the energy flow between Ajna and crown. And Ajna is the third eye chakra, right? So in the crown chakra, boy, powerful when that energy center lights off, blooms, no going back, folks. Ajna chakra confirms the purity of those souls who have transcended their lower natures and established the energy flow between Ajna and crown. This is signified by the 144,000 of the forehead. being the 144 chakra petals below the crown, and the symbolic 1,000 petals, actually 972 of the crown. The 144 is also 12 by 12, being 12 tribes of Israel, 12 signs of the zodiac. These purified and enlightened ones are now at the divine level where they no longer need the experience of the human kingdom. Amen. Like I said, once you transcend the digital matrix, and it doesn't mean the digital matrix and the AI hive mind, none of that stuff goes away. You have a different relationship with it, whereas once before you were trapped within it. But what this statement just reveals is that once you become purified and enlightened, you're now at the divine level where they no longer need the experience of the human kingdom. If you don't resonate with that, if you can't, I resonate with that. I don't need the human kingdom. I don't. And that's not it's just the fact of the matter. But if you're not there, then that's what you should aspire to. And this is what this information is being delivered in that intent. With that intent is to help folks along the way. And certainly people that are mind locked in the Christian hypnosis of that whole, just fear-based programming. Because, Revelations in the book of 666 and the devil, it serves its purpose, but I'm trying to give you another look at it, another symbolic understanding. So soul phase, 7 planes of being, the 7 rays are ordering. And first septenet is so we got more focused soul lessons to be learned. Chapter 8 opens with the crown chakra, 7th seal, omniscience, where the 7 agents of spirit, consciousness of the chakras and rays are given the energy frequency. Oh yeah, that's another way with the whole, and and you'll see some a lot of these videos on YouTube where the chosen ones and this, that, and the other, and the 144,000, and there's people capitalizing on that and running around. Oh, I'm the chosen one. I'm a chosen one. There's it's a frequency in the forehead. It's a number of the petals of the crown chakra. It's 144. I mean, everybody alive right now on this planet, if they make the right choices, if they focus their energy in the appropriate fashion, where the energy that follows the attention, we know that energy follows thought. Where your attention goes, their energy flows. So, but it's free will planet. Just make your choice. But it's the 144,000. It's all symbolic, and here this information is being given to you. So, crown chakra, 7th seal, 7 agents, spirit, consciousness of the chakras and rays are given the energy frequency trumpets. So energy frequency it's symbolized by the trumpet. So to transform the lower quaternary of earth, wind, and fire, the physical, emotional, mental, followed by the 3 woes of the 3 higher chakras. The term a third part is used by the 2nd phase. The 3 woes of chapter 9-11 are the further transformation of the 3 higher chakras and their levels of substance. The 5th chakra woe is the overcoming of the lower mind, being driven by the lower nature's 4 levels and chakras. The 6th chakra woe is the role of the ajna, your 3rd eye chakra, and uniting higher and lower, the yin and yang, is level of achievement of soul mastery. Here are the numbers of 42 months. So you see, folks, should give you a new perspective. Here we go on Revelation. It's a most popular book in the Bible, of the most popular book in the Western world, I guess. So, and here it is, and it's probably the reason why, but look at it from with new eyes. If you have the eyes to see, then see, and here's what you need to see. Chapter 12, the woman clothed with the sun and moon under her feet, about to give birth to the Christ consciousness. She is at a level beyond the thrall of the senses, 2 wings, ajna, ascension to the wilderness. The red dragon is the kundalini at all levels, heaven to earth, 7 heads, which test the remaining lower karma. The 2 beasts of chapter 13 are the lower emotional and mental urges energized by the kundalini. The number 666 is in the forehead, refers to the 3 lower levels of substance, physical, emotional, and lower mental. at the sixth chakra. The Lamb of Christ on Mount Zion in chapter 20 is the purified and fulfilled soul at the ajna level, resonating the new frequency, the new song with the 144,000 referred to in chapter 7. You see, there you go, folks. It's just, look at all this. The sickle severs attachment to the lower planes, to earth, as matter transforms, and to the vine of wisdom as its fruits are now ripe. The blood of the winepress is wisdom karmically attained from the chakra levels below the ajna up to the throat chakra of 16 petals. Spirit phase. The third tenet is about the transformational influence and dominance of spirit, leading to ascension to the next kingdom of the master. It opens at chapter 15, last 7 vials of karma to be poured out. Chapter 16 sees the vials, etc., etc. Ajna, 6th level. The Euphrates is the sushuma that energizes the physical etheric. Unclean spirits are the lower urges of the physical, the dragon, emotional beast, and lower mind, false prophet. So this is, there you go, right there. That the unclean spirit are the lower urges of the physical, dragon, emotional, false prophet. These rebellious qualities are focused in the lower mind consciousness called the hill of Megiddo or Armageddon. The 7th file begins the final completion of karma in chapter 17, 18. The personality, Babylon, is the whore that unites with the soul to become the bride of Christ, or the combined New Jerusalem. She is now rich in wisdom. Through the terrible experiences of early learning, the gold cup of wisdom that she holds contains the fruits of lower nature karma. It is golden because the karma has created love, wisdom in the soul. She is carried by the eternal infinite dragon Kundalini, now under and serving her. After much conflict, the chapter closes with the great stone of spirit being cast into the lower nature to destroy any separate powers not at one with spirit. The marriage of the Lamb, soul personality unity with spirit takes place in chapter 19. The white horse and rider that we saw in chapter 6 is the purified soul personality at the ajna. He is now rich in love, wisdom, and leads the armies of spirit against the remnant armies of the lower nature in the final phase of Armageddon. The lower natures are then transmuted by the divine fire. And here we have Bride of Christ, chapter 20, about the readjustment of the relation between crown chakra, its symbol, 1,000 years, the 1,000 petaled lotus, and the base chakra, the bottomless pit. The Kundalini dragon is chained to the crown via the other chakras till the crown is aligned with both the whole of human nature and with higher spirit. During this adjustment period, the human souls are assessed for their light and purity, and those surpassing the lower mind, beheaded, live in the Christ consciousness through the crown. This is the first resurrection of soul. The second resurrection, death to the old, occurs when the souls that did not make it the first time are scorched with spirit and transformed and then judged. Those still not up to the scratch are sent for further transmutation, cast into a lake of fire. The dragon is also transmuted to a higher frequency this way, as are the lower planes of death and hell. This is needed to prepare the subtle bodies for ascension into the next kingdom of the masters. Chapter 21 is about the consequences of the integration at chapter 20, which is the ascension out of the human kingdom into the spiritual kingdom of the master. The human soul viewpoint at the upper sublevels of the mental level sees the Buddhic level as heaven and all below the soul as earth. With ascension, the soul transfers to the Buddhic level of the masters. Keep in mind, all is the unformed mind of the Buddha. So of the masters. So the new heaven becomes the atomic level, and the new earth becomes all that below the new level of soul. Here we have figure 7, holy city. The awareness is now the oneness with all that is divine, the tabernacle of God with men, and there is no more need for incarnation, death, and the tribulations of the incarnate world. In this state, spirit unites with the purified soul personality. That's what New Jerusalem refers to. To create the unified holy Jerusalem. Its description that follows is based on the archetypal 12 of love, wisdom of the heart, of the 12 superior petals of the crown chakra, of the zodiac, and the cosmic Christ. This is so because the soul has attained the initiation of renunciation or crucifixion that is directed by the 4th ray of the heart and Buddhic plane. This initiation represents completion of the human journey. The ascended human city is 4 square. being a quaternary at a higher level full of light. This is a symbol to be interpreted. The walls of the city are the higher frequencies of the new soul level that prevent any lower frequencies of previous human nature entering. The three gates at each compass point represent the three astrological crosses and their links with divine consciousness and energy, and are the pearly gates of heaven. The wall measure at 144 cubits according to the measure of the man angel clearly refers to the Ajna chakra, though as part of the 12 by 12 measure of the city is now subject to the influence of 12 superior petals of the crown chakra. There is no need for a mechanism, temple. Like I said, you are the temple. To contact the lower levels of the previous human pathway, as the spirit and soul, father and son, now take the place of the earlier material level, mother of the soul. Likewise, there is no need for Ida or Pingala, moon and sun, as there is no more need for these channels of the lower evolution. Hence, no more darkness of night, as the new soul and spirit now enlightened. So, universal life. The last chapter is about the universal archetypical caduceus beyond time and space. The river of life, that is the energy of the oneness and purpose of God, proceeds from the center of divine will in the crown as the energy of the Sushumna. The zodiac is the crown chakra of an immense being according to Jwal Kulu, and is a part of the universal tree of life that through the sun's passage bears fruit on earth every month. Its fruits are the 12 archetypical qualities of the apostles that bear monthly as the sun moves through the 12 constellations of the zodiac, linking the macrocosmic Christ principle with the microcosm. The leaves of the tree are the multitude of sub-qualities, enabling specific healing for the many activities of peoples. At a concrete micro level, they are the dendritic channels with their acupuncture points, acting fractally upon the various scales or hierarchies of the soul network. Here we have the universal caduceus. In this state, there are no more limitations, cursed, but all are in the oneness of God. The manner of human evolution continues for those not yet enlightened, but all receive their reward according to their works. By following divine guidance, all can become enlightened and live the divine life beyond the human realm. John is told that the time is at hand, which means incarnation into time and space. The sheep and the goats recommence cyclic activity, but the separation into different kingdoms has taken place. The goats start where they left off, but the holy ones are now in the next kingdom of nature as the saints and masters who tend to the others in a spiritual capacity. The Christ consciousness comes quickly to those goats that practice the wisdom teaching. Their reward is to enter into the state of purity and live the divine life. There is a reminder that this is the period of end attainment and new beginnings, the Alpha and Omega, which is divine. And so, okay, so that's, just, I have more information, but I wanted to kind of do a quick video where at least to understand revelations, and that information is at sort of one level, and I have some more information to share that will begin to kind of help, I believe, make it more immediately relevant, because that's a lot of terms, chakra terms, and and it's just a lot of information that I wanted to present to. If anybody's open to that information, then you will at least begin to understand that this was all very symbolic. So 7 churches with the 7 chakras and this information. And so the next videos that I'll be sharing will be taking that information and examining much more in detail and in depth, and more relevant to like a person's day-to-day existence and whatnot. But there you have it. That's just sort of to introduce the whole concept of the fact that the book of Revelations highly symbolic, and it's easy, like for people to kind of continue living their life through their ego. And I guess it's everybody has their choice, their path in life. Like I said, to me, living through the ego, it's just kind of boring. It's more of the same. It's predictable. It's the easy way out, if you will. I mean, doing the harder thing, trying to connect with your spirit and understanding. going against the flow, basically being self-empowered is initially it's the more challenging route to take because you're going against the stream, your life, you're challenging the status quo, you're going your own path. So initially it's the kind of harder path to go maybe. But it is ultimately the most rewarding. If you want to get into the kingdom of heaven, wherever, however you define that, then the journey of a 1,000 million quadrillion miles begins with a single step. And it is my contention that the first step on that journey of infinity begins with hitting that subscribe button and becoming a student of the Umbanda New Earth education.
No, namaste, namaskaram.